Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new special episode of the Zodiac podcast, a podcast about wrestling, pop culture, movies, and whatever the fuck we want to talk about. Today, I'll be flying solo, but that's only because I will be giving my review of the the premium live event. It's going to take me a while to get used to that, to Backlash, which was on May the 4th. I do apologize as a proper wrestling fan. I did not watch it until the 5th because May the 4th was Star Wars Day, and I indulged in Star Wars. So sue me if you don't agree. But I will be giving my review of this PLE, the first PLE in France, which was held in Lyon, France. I'll be giving my review of each match, giving them all a grade, and then an overall grade for the entire show. And I'll be going over some news at the end, including a question that was asked to Triple H at the very end about a particular wrestler and some incidents that had happened way back in the past. It appeared like he was being punished now, but we'll get to that later. But one thing I do want to go over with this PLE was that, like I said, it was the first one ever held in France. There was pictures on TikTok, Twitter, X. Again, that's another one to take a while to get used to. People were showing their Apple Watches and the decibel level before the show fucking started was off the fucking chart. It's fucking nuts how loud and how energized that crowd was. I've been a firm believer of this for a long time now, is that, and don't take this the wrong way, but American audiences, fans, whatever you want to call them, are quite complacent in what we have. Yeah, we get into it, but when they go outside of the US, Canada, England, France, Saudi Arabia to a point, and even Australia, we've seen they are fucking loud and they get into it. And Triple H had said this during his press conference that he heard them outside. He was sitting in Gorilla doing his thing, and he had to yell at the person next to him because they were so fucking loud. And he was afraid that they were going to wear themselves out. And it seemed the closer we got to the main event between Cody and AJ, the louder they got. And they were the loudest at that point of the main event. So that's just kudos to that crowd, to the French crowd. They put on one hell of a show on top of another show. So I'm nothing but impressed by that. But that being said, the first match was Kevin Owens and Randy Orton versus, I'm calling them the New Bloodline, with Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga. Now, I'm going to be upfront. I've had a WrestleMania hangover for the past month, so I really haven't been watching Raw and SmackDown and even NXT to a point. I kind of wanted some time to kind of not that I'm wore out. It's just there was a lot going on WrestleMania weekend that I was so into that I'm like, okay, I need to take at least a couple of weeks to kind of recover, and then I can dive back in head first. And I did with this. Again, I'll be a better fan going into later shows, but I knew nothing about what was going on any of these matches. So except for what they showed us in the little promos before the match. But yeah, we got KO and Randy Orton versus the New Bloodline. I'm curious, before I start talking about the match, I'm curious about Solo's role in the Bloodline. Has he pretty much just taken over? Because we haven't seen Roman since WrestleMania, from what I understand. He's just been gone, which is not uncommon for him. Even when he had the belt, he wouldn't show up for a couple of weeks, and then he'd show up and acknowledge me and all that other bullshit that he liked to do. So I'm curious what the storyline with this is going to be. I do know that the crowd did chant that they wanted Roman at the very beginning of the match, and it makes me question, is Solo the new tribal chief? I thought at WrestleMania the Bloodline story was over, but apparently that was just the foundation. I guess there's more coming, with more people coming in to be in the Bloodline. So the thing about this match is that the bell didn't ring and they were going at it. They were going hot and heavy from the word go, just beating the living shit out of each other, fighting each other, you know, doing what, I expected this to be a street fight of some sort because there's no way they can contain these guys, all four of these men in the ring. No way. But then the SmackDown GM, Nick Aldis, comes out and is like, you know what? If you want to fight, then I'll make this a no disqualification street fight. I know he doesn't sound like that, but I have a horrible British accent, so I'm not gonna embarrass myself with that. So he comes out and makes the match a disqualification / street fight, and then even more hell breaks loose. It was just total anarchy in the ring. It was crazy. Like I said before, the crowd was in this. They were super fucking loud. They were doing those soccer or football chants, depending on where in the world you live. There's plenty of weapons that were being used on both sides. There was chairs, kendo sticks, tables at one point. I'll get into that later. At one point, KO put Tama through a table right after giving him a crotch chop outside the ring. He's kind of little DX thing going on. And then Solo Samoan drops Orton through the table. It didn't break. I'm starting to notice that the American announce table is not giving away as much as it used to. It seems to be the foreign one that's giving away now. I guess they're reinforcing it differently now. I don't know. Then KO versus an Irish whip, putting Solo through a table in the corner, but he takes I'm talking a nasty fucking clothesline from Tama. It was like he did a flip and all that bullshit. It was fucking nuts. And then there's like all these Olay chants from the crowd, which I personally was loving every minute of that. The crowd got me pumped. I mean, again, I was not 100% invested in any of these matches, but this crowd got me into it. So again, kudos to that crowd. They were just crazy. Then Randy Orton gives Tama an RKO out of nowhere and almost gets the win. I know they're not going to end it like that. The RKO is not as protected as it used to be. People are kicking out of the RKO, which is kind of shitty. And then Solo gets an RKO onto the announce table. Again, didn't break. Just it took it. And it's funny because I'm watching this and I'm going, an RKO is coming. I saw it coming, but I didn't see it coming, if that makes any sense. And then, the move of the night, in my opinion, is that KO does a brain buster to Tama, and there were 6 chairs in the middle of the ring. I mean, I haven't seen we saw the brain buster in the Sami Zayn versus Gunther match at WrestleMania, and we don't see that move often, if at all. So for them to bring that back again, I'm hoping to see that move more often because that's a pretty devastating fucking move. But then we get another member of the bloodline under the ring, comes out, stops the 3 count. He was a little late. He missed his cue, but it still happened. And it turns out it's Tanga Lao. I don't know who he's the son of or whatever. I don't know a whole lot about. I have to do research on that. But he fucking just destroys Kevin Owens and Orton. This is just pursuing that story that the bloodline is not going anywhere. And then Solo hits KO with the Samoan spike and wins the match. I gave this match an A. Again, and this is my opinion, that if this is the future of the bloodline, then all of WWE needs to be put on notice because Solo is a very different tribal chief. We don't know if he's a tribal chief yet or not. But he's doing what Roman won't do or can't do. And he's fighting his own fights and destroying anybody in his path. He's not having other people like Solo do his dirty work for him. He's a true leader. He's not afraid to stand up and do the ass whooping and then let them have the rest. So this is a bloodline storyline I can get behind because it wouldn't shock me if Solo was the one that took the title from Cody. It wouldn't shock me in any way. And in retrospect, I think it should be Solo because yeah, the bloodline story got a little thin there for a while. There had to be some deceit, but now with Solo pretty much doing everything by himself, it it's I just see a lot of really awesome things happening with the bloodline, some portrayal. We still haven't heard from Jimmy in a while. Um, I know Jay's doing his own thing on Raw now, so I don't see him coming back. But and they keep building their ranks, and we're not going to hear from The Rock for a while. So I'm curious what they're going to do with the final boss when he comes back to SmackDown. He kind of exerts his weight around. Um, but again, I give this match an A. It was a great match, and it also was great storytelling for the future of the bloodline and also Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. So next we had a triple threat match. Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton versus Bayley for the women's title. Um, again, I am not the biggest fan of people getting multiple title matches and failing at them. I get it if you lost it and you went back for a rematch. I get that. But Naomi, this would have been her second title shot in 2 weeks or so. So I just don't agree with that. I think it should have been somebody else, or it should have been just a singles match. I'd have been okay with that. And I do like that they're going away from there's triple threat matches out there, but they need to mean something. You can't just throw somebody into a match. Oh, we're gonna make it a triple threat. We're gonna do Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax versus Naomi. I mean, it makes no sense to have Naomi in that match because she has no beef with either one of them. Becky and Nia, on the other hand, have history. So this is just my personal opinion, though. I think Tiffany Stratton is the future of the women's division. And I don't like to agree with Corey Graves. And it's funny, when I do commentary for All Content Entertainment, I've actually based my commentary style and my bias, or lack thereof, on Corey Graves. So, but he and I agree that she has the most perfect moonsault that I have ever seen anybody do. And I used to cringe whenever Lita would do her moonsault. She would just slam her knees on that mat, and I'm like, God, I'm surprised she can walk. But Tiffany Stratton, it's just graceful and it's fucking beautiful. It's like a work of art. I wish it was a painting I could put on my fucking wall. That's how beautiful it is, you know. But again, that being said, these are my opinions. Naomi, I've always thought she's a little overrated. The fact that she quit on WWE back when Sasha Banks quit with her kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. But you know what? If Triple H and the company can live and let live, I can learn to live and let live too. It didn't hold me back in any way. I just don't like it when wrestlers are not happy, and instead of finishing out their said contract, they're like, "Well, I just want to fucking quit." No, finish it out, and then figure, maybe something will happen down the road that'll make you happy, not just fucking quit. That's just my opinion. But then again, at that time, there was a lot of the whole Vince McMahon shit going on, so I kind of give her a pass. I give her a pass for that. That being said, Bayley. Oh God, Bayley is so fucking sexy. Oh, I'm hoping she can bring back some credibility to the women's title on SmackDown. Sky was the female Roman Reigns. She didn't wrestle it or defend it very much, and when she did, she had help. I get it. She's the heel, or was the heel, and I get Roman was the heel, and the heel is going to do whatever they can to keep said title. But it doesn't mean I have to like it, But I would rather they were doing what Damian Priest has been doing, and I'll get to them here in a minute. And I think a big part of the reason why the fans are so behind Bayley now, because she's being herself. It makes her more likable. And I know she did the whole hugger gimmick, and that was cool. And when she dropped it and got the Karen haircut and became this, oh, I don't like anybody, fuck y'all, boo, that thumbs down shit she did. Okay, fine, you're making a different turn. But now I feel like she's being herself. She's more likable. She's more approachable, and she's fun to watch. So I'm on board. Excuse me. Um, the crowd at the very beginning seemed to be on Bailey's side because they were doing that "Hey Bailey" chant that, for my recollection, haven't heard since NXT, and that was 8 years ago. When I think the last time I heard that chant was when they had the last woman standing match against Sasha, Sasha Banks for the title. That Oh shit! I think that was WrestleMania 31. I don't remember. I just know I was at 32 in Dallas that year, or the following year. Um, we did see a lot of acrobatics and athleticism early in this match, which I expect that from Tiffany Stratton and from Naomi. Bailey is not so acrobatic, but she is definitely a powerhouse. Um, there was a lot of near falls and pins that were done, but Tiffany Stratton pulled off almost the impossible and did a double pin after they both tried to pin her earlier in the match. The match was back and forth because between all three competitors. Um, we did see a suicide dive by Bailey on the Stratton, only because Stratton took her eye off the ball. She was more focused on "it's Tiffy time" and taunting the crowd and doing what a heel does. I think that's what makes her such a great heel, is that she understands what her role is. And she may or may not win this match, but going forward, she's held the NXT title and she apparently held it with prestige. So I'm looking forward to the day that she gets her title run, not necessarily a title shot, but a title run. We did see a top of the barricade neck breaker by Naomi to Bailey, and that looked ugly. Caught it. It hurt my fucking neck just watching that. We did see a Bailey to belly suplex, almost to the win. And then we see Stratton does a cartwheel, which I thought was cool, into an Alabama slam on both Bailey and Naomi. Super impressive. And then Naomi and Bailey pull out some old school. They pull out the 3D on Stratton, which I thought that was cool as shit. Corey Grave once again talks about her moonsault being the prettiest in WWE, and I just can't help but think, bro, aren't you married to fucking Carmella? How would she feel you hitting on other women? I don't know. I just thought that was kind of, it's just Corey Graves being Corey Graves. Bailey does get the win after a pinfall reversal from Naomi, so she pins Naomi to win the match. I'm hoping we don't see Naomi in the title picture for a while. She's had her just due for a while. Let her go back to what she was. Stratton will be a champion one day, and I think she proved that tonight. Naomi did hug Bailey after the match as a sign of respect. This was a decent match. I mean, it wasn't a barn burner by any means. I give it a B only because I wasn't totally into it. I didn't know a lot of what was going on into it. The match was great. It was a little slow at first, but it picked up. Like I said before, I would have preferred a one-on-one. I would have preferred if it was Bailey versus Tiffany. I think that would have been a banger of a match. We've seen Bailey and Naomi. Why would I want to see it again? It's not like, what was it? Back when Cesaro and Sheamus had their best of 7 series, back when Mick Foley was the GM of Raw, and they just had this banger set of matches, and it led to them being a tag team, the Bar. But with this, I just wasn't, the chemistry. I don't think it was there. I would have preferred to see Tiffany. Tiffany would have just ridden the heel wave all the way to the end. But again, I give it a B. Had it been one-on-one, I think I would have been more invested in this match. Now we move on to Jey Uso versus Damian Priest for the men's WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I'm going to have to remember all these titles because they keep changing the names. I'm so over the yeet. I hate it. It's annoying. I get that you want to get the crowd pumped up. I totally get that. But this whole yeet bullshit, I'm not into it. And I'm not a fan of the Usos in general anyway. So you can take that with a grain of salt. Uh just it was different not seeing Pat McAfee there. Excuse me, because he's normally on Raw, doing his thing, being living the dream, being the fan, doing commentary. I don't blame him. I would probably do the same thing. Um, Priest did seem very confident in this match early, but it was a little slow at first. It did pick up as we went along. Uso did take Damian Priest out with a barricade with a suicide dive, which was a pretty nice spot. But we get JD McDonough interferes in the match. Priest lets him know what's up. Like, what the fuck, bro? What are you doing? And then as they're exchanging blows, you hear yeet, no yeet from the crowd, which I just thought was great as they were trading off insecurities to each other. We see a Razor's Edge to Jay, near fall, not quite the pin. And then, Damian Priest gets a spear, almost again, another near fall. And then Finn Balor comes out of the crowd to distract Jay, but gets a super kick for his trouble, which was a great spot. Priest gives Jay the South of Heaven choke slam and damn near gets the win there. Jay does counter with a couple of insecurities and a few super kicks of his own, followed by a spear, and then hits his frog splash. Not quite there. McDonough breaks up the 3 count without the ref seeing it. And then Jay takes his eye off the prize, attacks Finn and JD, only to lose his balance on the top rope. Damian Priest hits him on the top rope with the I think it's called the South of Heaven choke slam. Gets the win. He wins. He beats him on his own for the most part. Then JD and Finn try to attack Jay after the match is over, and Priest stops them, which is shocking for a heel. I don't even know if they're heel. I think they're kind of like anti-heroes at this point. He pretty much stops them and has a few words with them. I do like the idea that if Damian Priest and the Judgment Day in general are a heel faction, he wants to carry his own weight and he wants to win the title on his own terms, and he doesn't want the distractions or the help. I can respect that because, I didn't get that with Roman Reigns, and of course Cody's flying solo, so he's got no one to help him anyway. But that being said, I like this new approach to the heel champion is that I don't need your help. Get the hell out of my way. I do feel like the Judgment Day is slowly falling apart. Ever since Rhea Ripley got injured and had to leave, I feel like they're crumbling from within. But that also shows me that Rhea Ripley was the true leader of that faction. And it's like that arch, you take out that little peg there, it's eventually going to collapse on itself. And I have a feeling that there's going to be some sort of betrayal down the road to where somebody either turns on somebody inside or someone will leave. Like, I'm hoping that Priest will actually come to his senses and become a baby face and leave the faction and go on his own. I don't see it happening, but I would like, if I was in creative, I would be wanting to do something like that. But again, I think Rhea is the true leader of this faction, and it sucks that she's not here to enjoy. She'd still be the champion, and of course, Damian would still be the champion. The faction would hold about half the gold, or almost half, actually. But they would hold all the cards, and everything would have to go through them. But that being said, I gave this match a C. It was kind of boring. I'm not going to lie. It was kind of a boring match. Yeah, the crowd was into it, but it wasn't getting me into it at all. I just wasn't into it. And I had to rewind it a few times because I was actually on my phone. That's how distracted I was. I'm like, oh, let's see what's going on Monopoly Go. Oh, shit, there's a set. Let me rewind it real quick. Yeah, I just had no investment in this match at all. But that being said, I wrote a bunch of notes for this next match. But to be fair, I don't give two fucks about this next match. So I'm just going to skip to the end and that's Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill versus the Kabuki Warriors for the Women's Tag Team Champions. I will say this. Ever since Asuka went to the main roster, and that was back in 2017, 2018, in NXT, she was the female Goldberg. Nobody could beat her. She was unfucking stoppable. She goes to the main roster. We're starting to see the same thing. She's going through everybody. She wins the Rumble, goes against Charlotte, and I'm thinking, okay, cool. Asuka's going to fucking walk all over Charlotte, and I can't stand Charlotte anyway. I don't like Charlotte Flair, never have, never will. I can't stand somebody who rides on her dad's coattails, and she's won the belt like 300 times. Not a fan. But at that WrestleMania, not only did Asuka lose, but she tapped out. I don't think somebody who you've built up like that would tap out to that move, to the figure eight. I think Asuka's gotten gotten a bad rap altogether. I think she's been fucked, and not in a way she'd want to be fucked. That being said, I am not a fan of Bianca Belair. I think she's been in the spotlight way too long. She wants to be the forerunner, and there are people that have been there longer who have done more that deserve to be in that set spotlight. People like Becky Lynch, people like Bayley, even Nia Jax. Natalya, that's another person who I feel should get a final title run before she retires, because she has just been she's been reduced to putting people over, but I want to see her win one more title before she hangs it up. Jade Cargill, I'm not saying I'm not a fan, but I'm not. I'm still on the fence, and I saw some of her matches in AEW. They didn't impress me, although the way she was able to put out Kairi Sane in that Jaded, I think is the name of her move, was pretty impressive. She's a pretty strong woman. But going into this match, I knew one of two things was going to happen. Either A, they're going to put the titles on Bianca and Jade, or they're going to make Bianca get pinned and not Jade, because they want Jade to look strong. They want the booking to be the way it is. I would have preferred the latter. I would have preferred if they lost and Bianca's the one that got pinned. It would have caused turmoil, maybe even some sort of rivalry or feud between Bianca and Jade. But they're the tag champions, and they're probably going to hold it for a fucking year, because there ain't nobody taking them off of them. So that match, I gave it a C. Again, I just was not invested in this match at all. Did not give two shits about it. After this match, there was an announcement for the King and Queen of the Ring tournament, which starts on Monday night. I did not write down who was in what matches. Excuse me. I'm glad they're bringing this back, because a lot of current and future Hall of Famers have won said King of the Ring. Hell, if it weren't for the King of the Ring, we wouldn't have Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm not a Stone Cold guy. I'm a Rock guy. But even I can admit that if not for the Austin 316 says, I just whooped your ass. If not for that, Attitude Era would have been a whole lot different. I guarantee it. And the funny thing about that, people that may or may not know, is that Triple H was, I think, if I remember my history correctly, Triple H was supposed to win that King of the Ring, but that was right before the curtain call. So when Razor Ramon and Diesel left, and you had Shawn Michaels and Triple H in the ring with them during, breaking kayfabe. There's video of it. It's very grainy. It's very 90s video. So, okay, we can't punish Diesel, and we sure as fuck can't punish Razor Ramon. Shawn's the champion. Triple H is being punished. So he ended up being the one that got punished. He was supposed to win the King of the Ring. They ended up offering it to Stone Cold Steve Austin. He won it. And the rest is Attitude Era history. So, yeah. Funny how little things like that change the dynamic of everything. And you can't help but wonder, what if? There's a lot of what ifs in wrestling, like what if The Rock never joined, or if Chris Jericho never jumped ship, which he was the first big name WCW guy to jump ship to WWE. But I'm off track. We now have the main event. AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes, which is this title's now being called the Undisputed WWE Championship. And I can get behind that. I'm okay with that. At least he doesn't have to carry two belts like Roman had to for a while there. What I thought was cool is that the crowd, even the music stopped, and the crowd is still singing Cody's theme, Kingdom, long after. And I was having a Rock moment. It's all, I got goosebumps. I'm the Rock. I didn't actually say I was the Rock, but you get what I'm saying. This was Cody's first televised title defense. And they also said that the female that was refereeing is the first female referee to main event or to referee a main event in WWE history. So that's cool. You know, I've seen her in different matches. She seems like she knows what she's doing, so no issue there. Crowd at the very beginning of the match was chanting, "Let's go, Cody. AJ sucks." I couldn't help but laugh at that. Again, this French crowd was rowdy. They were rowdy as fuck, and I was loving all of their energy, which is fucking nuts. At one point, Cody did try to go for a suplex off the top rope, but AJ countered it, and then Cody fell flat to the mat. That spot looked ugly, but you know nobody got hurt. That's all that matters. AJ does try to go for a springboard moonsault, but Cody gets the knees up, catches him right in the ribs. Cody puts AJ through the French announce table with a power bomb, and this time the table collapsed. I think they're saving it for the main event. I really do. They got, let's unscrew some screws in this, and then okay, it'll give in. Don't touch the desk, which you know, you take a couple of screws out of a desk, it's very flimsy. Trust me, I know from experience. But yeah, he puts him through the table with a power bomb. Both men are out on the floor, passed out. The 10 count's going. When 9 rolls up, they both literally dive right inside to beat the 10 count. That was pretty sick. And they both hit each other with kicks in the face. They both boom, and then they were down on the ground. They were done. And then once Cody comes through and gains the momentum, he unleashes a fury of lefts and then gives AJ that bionic elbow, courtesy of Dusty Rhodes. So a lot of counters in this match after that. You know, they ended up with AJ giving Cody a suplex into the corner. It looked like a Bexploder type of suplex, but it was a lot closer to the corner, so it looked like it hurt more. Let's see, where are my notes here? AJ hits the springboard 720 and almost gets the pinfall. I was like that close, like just super, super close. Then a burning hammer by AJ that gets only a 2 count, but it also fires up Cody. We see the remnants, like shades of the Hulk, just hulking up, which looking back, it's so fucking stupid, but I get, you know, Hulk Hogan was like a superhero back in the 80s. Personally, I was a Macho Man guy myself, but it is what it is. Does a Cody cutter for the pin, but AJ kicks out at 2. But then Cody counters the phenomenal forearm with a kick to the gut and sets AJ up into the Kimura lock. Haven't seen that move in a while. I think the last time I saw it is when Brock Lesnar put it on Triple H and broke his arm. I remember that storyline. I think that was the same time that Brock came back and put he F5'd John Cena onto the metal steps in the middle of the ring, if I remember my history correctly here. Cody then jumps up on the top rope and hits AJ with a Cody cutter, and that thing was a thing of beauty. It was fucking beautiful. Then he hits the crossroads for the win. Cody defends. He wins, defends his title for the first time, televised. I'm sure dark matches, they made him defend it. I'm going to say that this was a pretty damn good first defense by Cody. And AJ made him look like $1 million that night. And the crowd, oh my, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The crowd was just unbelievable in all of these matches. I mean, especially in this match, you know, they were just all over the place. And they talk about it in in the press conference after the fact. But I grade this one an A minus. It wasn't perfect by any means. It's a little slow at the beginning, but it picked up what it needed to, and it was well worth the wait. Yeah, it was Cody's first title defense since WrestleMania, so it's been a month, give or take a day, but worth it. I would like to see Cody do more of the Seth Rollins and defend it on a weekly basis. Maybe even do the old John Cena Open Challenge thing where he just, if you want to be a fighting champion, you got to put the title on the line every time. And I get it. You're the champion. You don't have to wrestle as much. But I feel like if you're the top guy, if you're the face of the company right now, you're the guy that needs to be. Ric Flair always said, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And yeah, he beat the man, a 3+ year title reign. But the story is not over. I know I hate using that cliche to finish the story. It ain't done. That's just one chapter. Keep going. And Cody's 37, 38? He doesn't have a whole lot of time left by regular standards. I mean, I know there's dudes that are in their 60s. Like Jericho is 130, and he's still fucking wrestling. So, again, A minus. I loved it. It was great. If I had to give this show an overall grade rating, I'd probably give it a B. Like I said, the matches before it, and it's for 3 hours. These matches felt like they took forever to go by, but there was not a lot of matches going on. Again, I didn't watch this until Sunday, so I didn't watch the pre-show. I didn't watch any of that. I just dove right into the show and did my thing, and I may do that going forward, just because the pre-show, I don't like hearing these people talk about, their picks when they probably know who's winning, but they got to, look wrong. That just annoys me. It's like NFL analysts, except NFL analysts really don't know who the fuck's winning unless you ask this conspiracy theorist, the NFL is scripted, just like the WWE. Whatever. But a B. I give this show a B. I know I would have liked to have seen the other titles on the line, like the tag team championships, perhaps. Any one of them. I understand Becky and Seth were at the Kentucky Derby, which I'll get to that here in a minute. But I would have, or at least another match. I don't know if there wasn't a whole lot going on. Like I said, I wasn't watching. I don't know. My voice keeps cracking and it's kind of annoying. It's very dry here in Oklahoma. But I guess there just wasn't enough story going around, so they just went with the top 4 or 5 stories and said, fuck it, let's have a match. That be as it may. But once again, it gets a B. Watch the press conference, and I fast forwarded to Triple H because I don't want to hear. I can always watch it later where Jade and Bianca we were supposed to be here and talking about all that shit. And that's another thing I want to talk about real quick before I get to Triple H. Why is it that Bianca is allowed to bring a weapon and use it in the ring every match that she's in? It's kind of annoying that weave that she brings out there that has EST, which is a stupid fucking gimmick to begin with, but that's just my opinion. I'm ranting. I don't know why. I just don't like Bianca. She just annoys me. She's annoying as hell. I would like to see Jade and Bianca feud, and I would jump all over Jade's side because that woman's a fucking beast. And I'm curious what they're going to do with her in the future because she has a very long career ahead of her in WWE as long as she can stay healthy and do all the cool things that she's done in the past and do them here, but do it carefully. Because she still looks a little green in some areas, but it is what it is. Anyway, on to the press conference. Triple H thanks the fans in France and said the crowd was so loud in Gorilla that he could not hear the person sitting next to him. I mentioned that before. They had been talking about going to France for some time. Of course, with the transition of being bought out by TKO and everything, I guess the time was right. The outcome, he says, was way better than they could have ever imagined, and they're looking forward to going back. Um, they're even talking about there's a football stadium or soccer stadium not far from there that seats 60,000. So I'm thinking they're probably going to want to do a big pay per view, not the big four. You got the Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. Those are the big four. So I'm thinking maybe down the road they're probably going to do a big one there, which is fine. I would love to hear 60,000 people chanting all the stupid shit they were chanting, but it was fun to watch and it's fun to hear. I talked about this earlier, but Triple H talked about their Apple Watches were going up due to the decibel levels in the arena were just so off the chart. I mean, that's unreal. I've had my watch go off in a bar, and it's not that fucking loud, but for them to go off in an arena where it's just crazy, like they're at a Kansas City Chiefs game, fucking nuts. They did say they had over 11,000 fans in attendance for Backlash. I mentioned this earlier, but the media talked about having another show at the football stadium there in Lyon, and Triple H was like, maybe. Like, he didn't say yes, he didn't say no, but it's gonna happen. And the fact that WWE is going more international, which I'm all about that. This is not just an American company. There are people from all over the world that are in this company. People from Ireland, Scotland, Germany, whatever the case may be. They're from all over the world. Showcase it to everybody. And these crowds that are living outside the U.S., they appreciate it more than we do. That's why they're so fucking rowdy. I would have loved to seen this crowd the night after WrestleMania. That I would have paid to see because that would have been a sight. Fuck the beach balls. This shit would have been loud as hell. Now, the press conference, there was one last question. Triple H took it, and this fucking reporter asked him about the release of Drew Gulak due to the bullying and the issues backstage with Ronda Rousey. I have my own opinion about that, but I'll tell you what Triple H said. Triple H just pretty much told him to use a more reputable source for your news, and that he wasn't released, his contract was expired, and he wasn't re-signed. Okay, fine. How much of that is true? I don't know. It could be total bullshit. I don't know. They're probably just saying that to save face. We need to get Ronda Rousey out of her fucking mouth in WWE. And this is just my rant, my opinion. I used to be the biggest Ronda Rousey fan. I loved Ronda. And then one day I realized it's hard not to be the best in the company when there's no competition. If you beat somebody up in 15 seconds, it's obvious that person is not good enough to be in the ring with you, period. And I'm talking fighting. Professional wrestling is different. It's scripted. That's the way it goes down. UFC is real. That shit is fucking for real. You're getting hit in the fucking face and in the chest or whatever. So it wasn't until Holly Holmes, I believe, is who did it, beat her in 2 rounds. Real competition showed up and she fucking lost. And then when she lost again to I don't remember who the fuck she lost the second time to, she was like, oh, I'm going to go to WWE and I'll be loved there. And the fans didn't like her there either because wrestling fans will smell bullshit a mile away. If you've never been to a show, which I'm sure most of you have, the crowd knows when you're full of shit or if you're spot on. And Ronda was still very, very green. I've heard Becky Lynch talk about this, that she got pushed to the front of the line because of who she was and what her name was. And that's not fair to everybody else. They have plenty of that already in professional wrestling, Charlotte Flair. But I feel like if you're in the company, you need to earn your spot, period. In any promotion, not just in WWE or AEW or Ring of Honor, any promotion, if you're a new dude in the company, you do not go for the top, the fucking brass ring right away. You earn your shot and go, and you earn the credibility to be put in that spot. You don't get a title shot the first day on the job. Just like you don't get a promotion the first day. You got to earn that promotion. So what I'm trying to say is Ronda Rousey's a fucking cunt. I don't fucking like her. People don't like that word. I don't care. It's my fucking binky. I don't like Ronda. I wish her the best, but at the same time, it is what it is. I didn't watch the Kentucky Derby, obviously, because it was on Saturday, and I didn't watch the pay-per-view until Sunday. But they did announce that that WrestleMania next year, which will be WrestleMania 41, will be in Vegas, Sin City. Interesting. I knew that was just a matter of time with that new stadium they built for the Raiders. It was just a matter of time before they had some sort of big wrestling event there. And what better way to start it off than WrestleMania 41? And I'm going to say with WrestleMania 40, the bar is way the fuck up here. So they got to go above and beyond for this next one. And do I think they can do it? I do, but I just don't know how they're going to do it. And they got 10 months to figure it out. So Triple H has a lot to do between here and next January for the Rumble, building up to WrestleMania. And that's it for the pay-per-view. For the PLE, I swear I'll get it right. I promise. But a bit of sad news I saw this morning, or this afternoon, I should say, and I put it up on the podcast webpage, is that Jerry Lawler will no longer be employed by WWE. And I legit was very sad about this. Jerry the King Lawler and Jim Ross, JR, good old JR, were the voice of my teen years when watching professional wrestling. Just everything that those two, I think they're one of the best commentary teams of all time. I put Gorilla and Bobby the Brain up there, or even Gorilla and Jesse the Body Ventura. Great chemistry. They shoot off each other well. They meshed well. They got along for the most part. It's just sad to think that the man will not be part of the company. I mean, why couldn't they put him in like a consulting or a coaching, or put him on the performance center and showing the new batch of kids coming up how to be in professional wrestling? I think that they would have been more valuable keeping him than letting him go, because he's an asset. He's been around since the 70s. And for you Gen Zers out there, that's like 100 years ago. So I don't know. I just think they fucked up, or maybe this is just a temporary thing. Maybe they'll offer him something down the road. But I am a little upset that they did not rehire Jerry the King Lawler. That man, the man was half of the voice of the Attitude Era up until JR had that issue and Michael Cole kind of stepped in, which is fine. It is what it is. But I do hope that Jerry the King Lawler lands on his feet. I hope he can find. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw him or a poster of Jerry the King Lawler is all elite and he goes to AEW, which is a whole another rant and opinion that I have about that company. But we'll save that for another time. But again, like I said, that was Backlash. Give it a B. It could have been better. It could have been worse. I mean, based on what we've seen in the past couple of years, this is actually a pretty damn good show. And what we've gotten prior, with Vince still at the helm, I was actually kind of relieved that it wasn't a complete and total blunder, because this is the first pay-per-view / PLE. I'll get it right, I promise. This is the first PLE since WrestleMania, so the stakes were high. Did they meet it? No, but you know what? It was still a good show. And would I watch it again? Yeah, I probably would. But I'd probably watch certain matches. I wouldn't watch them all, obviously. But that being said, I'm going to conclude this review of the Backlash PLE. I got it right. Yeah. Yeah. Victory in itself. Now I get to have tacos for dinner. Yeah. But like I said, if you're listening to this podcast, I still want to say thank you. You can follow this podcast on Spotify for podcasters, and YouTube. Just search the Jazz Zodiac podcast. If you want to send me a question or a topic you want to hear about on the show, just email me. Send an email to the Jazz Zodiac podcast at gmail.com. And you can also follow, like, and subscribe to the Facebook page and my TikTok. Just search the Jazz Zodiac podcast. I'm not hard to find. I'm 6'5". I stick out pretty bad up here, especially in Oklahoma where all these hoagies from Muskogee are. But anyway, like I said, this is the Jazz Zodiac podcast. I am the Jazz Zodiac. I will see you next time. Make it so.